So I'd love to know, how did last year go for you professionally? And what I'm really asking is, did you get promoted? And if you weren't trying for a promotion, did you get a big bonus? Did you get the accolades in your quarterly or annual meetings? Did you get the recognition that you deserve for your hard work? Because for a lot of people, the answer is no, and they don't know why. But today, I'm going to tell you what a lot of people are getting wrong about how they show up in the workplace. And it's an easy fix once you know what it is. Before we get into the answer, I am going to ask you 2 quick questions about yourself. The first question is, what stories do you tell about yourself and your work in the workplace? Think about it. What stories do you tell about yourself and your work in the workplace? My second question is, what stories do other people tell about you in the workplace? If you don't have a fast answer to both, that's what's wrong with your career right now. Now, let me give you an example. When you think of the leaders at work that you work for, the people above you, the more senior leaders above you, and when you think about any TED Talk you've ever watched, or frankly, any sales pitch from an influencer, what do? They tell you stories about themselves. They tell you stories about their successes. Sometimes they tell you stories about their challenges, right? A lot of times they tell you stories about their peer group or a mentor that they've had or somebody that they've mentored. I want you to know none of these stories are on accident. All of these stories are carefully crafted so that the listener gets the impression of the leader that the leader wants them to have. This is one of the biggest techniques that leaders use to establish their presence and their reputation. And if you're not doing it, this is why you're not being seen the way you want to be seen. I'm going to give you another quick example. How many times have we seen somebody at work that is succeeding despite their actual work? We've touched on this before, but we're going deeper into this topic. And if you didn't get promoted, and you can say, Gabby, it was a rough year, a lot of companies had a hard time. They did, but I've seen a lot of companies that said they weren't doing promotions and still did promotions. The reason I'm telling you this is because successful people are still getting ahead even when companies are having headwinds that are holding them back financially. It doesn't prevent the big raises. It doesn't prevent the big bonuses. It doesn't prevent the right people from getting ahead and getting promoted. What it does prevent is lots of people getting ahead and getting promoted. So how do you move from the group of lots of people who get the rewards when there's a lot of money to go around into the group of people who are still moving despite everything that's happening? And I can tell you it's not just results. And I think that you know that too. I'm going to tell you a story. There have been so many times where I would be working my butt off, all the hours, all the results in the world, hearing about, hey, it's just not the right time, or, we're not in the right situation. All the delays that you hear, I've heard those too. But I would see that so-and-so is getting promoted. Or even at a more granular level, like take away the question of promotion, right? Because sometimes we're not measuring our success that way. Sometimes we're measuring it, again, by the accolades, by the rewards, by the shout outs. Personally, I love a big bonus, but those kinds of things, right? Spot bonuses. And I would see somebody and they'd be sitting there talking about all the great work they would do, but I would work with them and I would see their work and I would know their work isn't that good. It's not. They're not getting the results. They're not hitting their targets, and their work quality kind of sucks, but they still got the recognition in whatever form that recognition took. Why is that? Because other people believed the stories they were telling about themselves. It just boggled my mind. It still boggles my mind, but it's reality. Unless the people they're talking to are in the day-to-day with them and affected by their lack of quality, the stories they tell about themselves become the truth. It becomes their reputation, whether or not it's grounded in fact. So if you're like I was, where you don't tend to tell a lot of stories about yourself, you think your work is standing on its own, but it's not. People need to be talking about it. You need to be one of those people talking about it. You might be like me, where you don't like to brag about yourself and you're kind of grossed out by people who do brag. I was like that for a long time. In fact, I'm still like that. I still hesitate to brag about all the cool stuff that I do, right? But if you're not telling those stories, who is? Let's anchor into storytelling for a second. Storytelling is what connects us as humans. And you see that with YouTubers. Some of the biggest YouTubers do the best job telling stories about themselves. And I'm talking about YouTubers that people really connect with. It's because you're getting that connection with leaders at work, with influencers, because the way they're telling the stories resonates with something within you. The same is really true at work, but at work it's a little bit different. You're intentionally telling stories that get people to see you the way you see yourself at your best. I don't like to use this manipulatively. Again, I have really high morals and ethics, as I'm sure you do too. So please don't use what I'm about to tell you for evil. Use your newfound powers for good. But the storytelling you do at work doesn't just connect people to you, it tells people who you are. You are showing people what you want them to know about you through stories that highlight your best qualities, your best moments, the things that you think are important about you. If you are not carefully crafting these stories on your own, then your reputation either doesn't exist or it might be something you don't want it to be. And we don't often think about how can we control our reputations other than through our actions, right? Again, a lot of us feel like I work hard, I do great work, and that work stands on its own. And you might be saying, Gabby, no, I am recognized for my great work. Awesome. Are you being recognized in all the ways that you want to? And how far is what you're doing going to get you? And if you're satisfied staying in that same place for the next 5, 10, 15 years, awesome. That's awesome. Then this video is probably not for you. But if you want to keep progressing in your career and you want to keep growing, at some point, you have to actively control your reputation. That is what the best leaders are doing. And you can see that more publicly in some of these big examples of the people who give TED Talks, of the leaders who are up on stage. But what you may not see is that the layers in between you and these more prominent or visible leaders, the layers in between are doing the same thing. They're doing that in meetings. They're doing that in client introductions. They're talking about themselves. And they have a group of people who are also telling their stories and amplifying them intentionally. And they're telling the stories that they want to be told. So let's go back to the question I asked you at the beginning of the video. What stories are you telling about yourself? And what stories are people telling about you? And you may be wondering, Gabby, how do I do that? Well, you need to choose stories to tell and you need to craft them because this becomes part of your brand at work. Branding isn't just for companies, it's not just for entrepreneurs, and it's not just for influencers. At work, your reputation is your brand. And that goes beyond your direct coworkers. It's leaders who've never worked with you. It's people in your network. You want all of them to have this amazing, glowing view of you, who you are. And it's so interesting to me because I see a lot of people at certain points in their career who tell me they're so frustrated because something isn't happening for them. And almost every time it's because they're focusing on either the work they're doing or an expectation that who they are speaks for itself. And I'll see people get to a certain point and then not be able to move past that point. Those 2 points of getting stuck are usually moving into an official management role, so early middle management. The second level people get stuck at is that director, senior director role, where what they've done has gotten them to a certain point, but it just won't get them any further. And in both situations, it's their reputation that has them stuck. Their reputation either doesn't exist or it does, and it's just not telling the exact story that needs to be told about them to get them to that next level. So a lot of times, if you're trying to move into that first rung of management and you're not able to get past like a certain thing, you're just stuck, it's because your reputation probably doesn't exist that tells stories about leadership. And that's where you need to lean into brand stories that do focus a little bit more on some leadership qualities and not just being an individual contributor. You have to change your brand stories. And when people are stuck at that director and senior director level, it's the same thing. Maybe they have been telling stories, but they need to evolve the stories that they're telling in order to give people insight, not just the impression, but true insight into who they are and how they'll do at that next level. So the stories you're telling about yourself and that you're getting your supporters to tell about you as well within your network are stories about who you are, about why you do what you do, stories that illuminate qualities that get people to see you as that next level and not just the level you're at. Now, another situation is you're fine at your level, meaning you're happy to stay at your current title for the next couple of years, but you want more recognition in that title. Again, that's where you need to amplify stories that you're contributing to the business more significantly. That's when you start getting the larger bonuses, right? Or the people who are making the decisions on the bonuses or for the quarterly and annual awards don't know that you're getting the results because maybe your boss isn't telling those stories for you. So that's where you work with your boss or your mentor to figure out, well, what stories do I need to be telling? How do I get this out there that I am getting these amazing results to the people who are making the decisions? Because a lot of times, unfortunately, our bosses and leaders fail us. They're not telling our stories for us. So some people who get helped along quite a bit in their career, it's because they have a boss and or a mentor who is doing that for them. They have sponsorship at work. But some bosses don't know to do that on their own, to be honest. They really don't. I've seen a lot of upper middle management struggle with knowing how to help the people below them by telling good stories for them. Unfortunately, leadership isn't perfect. But what you can do to take control of that is work with your boss and figure out who needs to know about this thing that I'm doing, right? Or even focusing on, am I doing the right things? Because being an individual contributor and excelling at the work that you do at that level will truly only get you so far. So if you're feeling stuck and you're just not sure why you're not getting the promotion or why you're not getting the accolades or why you're not getting the big bonuses, I want you to really think about your reputation and what hand you're playing in creating that reputation, because your work does not speak for itself. It is truly dependent. Your reputation is truly dependent on the stories that you and other people tell about you. The recognition you get at work, as well as your ability to get new jobs, is completely dependent on your brand. Your personal brand is your reputation. That reputation is built on the stories you and other people tell about you. And that is something that you can control. So my challenge for you is to sit down and think about what stories you want to tell about yourself. Take a look at the leaders who work at your company or at companies that you admire, leaders you admire, companies that might be places you want to work one day, and see the stories that they're telling about themselves, and then imagine how you're going to do that for you. The other thing leaders have is they always have a bank of stories in their back pocket where they sound like personal stories, but they still illustrate the qualities that they're trying to demonstrate about themselves. I just want you to know none of this is accidental. When you see leaders doing this, all of this is very intentional. They have these stories ready to go. And again, it's something that you can do as well. And if you're watching this and you're not sure if this is you, I want you to know this applies to all sorts of different levels. It just changes depending on what level you're at. And if you've gotten yourself to a certain level, ask yourself, am I ready to go to that next level? Who knows that I'm ready, and how will they know that? And I just want to share that I see this happen to a lot of people. People trying to move out of individual contributor roles, unfortunately, are so focused on, but I'm doing good work. I'm doing good work. I should get promoted. I'm doing a really good job. Doing a really good job means you're doing your job. Ask yourself what qualities you need to be demonstrating that show you're ready for that next level, and ask yourself, who knows that? Who knows that about you? How can you make them know that? That's going to help you craft these stories. Now, if you're a little bit confused about how to craft these stories or what stories you need to be crafting, I did make a course for this. I made a whole course about personal branding, because the art of storytelling, the art of creating the right stories, knowing what stories to lean into and knowing how to tell those stories and when, it is a craft. It is a skill that you can build and hone. But if you want to go more in depth on this than I can get in a video, please feel free to check out my branding course. It's not super expensive. It's not like one of those influencer courses where it's thousands of dollars. It's not at all like that. I really intended this to help people, and it has specific workbooks and exercises so you can build those stories and also build a network of people to tell your stories for you and how to approach them about telling it. So hopefully this video has helped you. If you do want more resources, that course is available. And I also just have the standalone workbook available on Etsy if you just want to go through the exercises and not take the whole course. But maybe you don't need that. Maybe you watched this video and you had the aha moment and you know what stories to tell and how to craft them. And if so, awesome. So if this was valuable, please hit that like button and leave me a comment, because that helps me. I'm here to help you guys, but I would love it if you would give me just a little bit of engagement to help boost this video. And then also share this with your coworkers and anybody in your network who you think could benefit from it. And if you're not interested in the course, but you still want more help, just know that I am available for coaching. So check out my website if you want to, if that's something you're interested in. Otherwise, just stay tuned for more videos, because my biggest goal is just to help people with all of the things that I've learned over the decades. I just want to help. Whatever way I can help, let me know. Thank you so much. Good luck.